It's the George Plaster Show. 30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. Featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Watson Brown. And it's a shame it's taken this long to get an introduction for this Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer, Kelly Holcomb, along with young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is turned into a really nice Tuesday after looking like a hurricane was blowing in here. It's all kind of drifted east, and now we got some sunshine, and that's a good thing. And based on my exclusive forecast, it's going to be this way, for the next 4 or 5 days.
Thank you, George Breezy.
You're very welcome, Billy. Let's go to Murfreesboro. Check in with Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, how are you today?
I'm good. You think we could possibly get Danielle Breezy on this one day and do a weather report for us?
You know, I think probably not. I think probably they're a little worried that I might get in that business. Here's what I know, Kelly. In the winter, if you can get that moisture into the Gulf, and then you've got that strong Canadian crap, the big high-pressure system, and the two meet in between Nashville and Murfreesboro, then these county school systems will be closed. Benton, Bedford, Carroll, Cheatham, Clay, Dixon, Decatur, DeKalb, Fentress, Grundy, Lewis, Lincoln, Miles, Battleground Academy will open 2 hours early just to screw over George.
That is hilarious, George. Moore, Bedford, you got them all, dude. That is awesome.
Pickett, Putnam, Warren, Wayne, White, and of course, up in Kentucky, Todd, Christian, and Muhlenberg.
Correct.
So
that is awesome.
You know, I always thought back then, how cool would it be to get the number to whatever the code was, you know, where somebody called in to say, listen, we won't be in school, and maybe slip in a call that says, listen, this is the head honcho of Battleground Academy. We won't be in for 2 weeks.
Y'all couldn't figure out how to do that, get that done, though, could you?
No, but I'll tell you this. If we had, I'd have been dangerous.
That's what every young man tried back in the day.
Yeah, not very mature, but at least the truth.
No, we're still not mature, and I'm 50 and you're 75, so we're still not mature.
I'm not 75. When I woke up today, I felt like I was 75, but
is that old knee still giving you problems? The knee's still giving you problems?
No, actually, no. Everything's been good.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. Yeah.
Billy don't have to worry about that. Yeah. William don't have to worry about that in his young days. He can have an injury, and by 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, it'll be fine.
Billy, is that true?
That is true.
Okay.
I've never had an injury in my entire life. Knock on wood.
That's because you really have not participated to any great extent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you bring some throat lozenges today?
I did. I got some today.
Okay.
Here we go.
Get really close. Show that really close up. That's wonderful.
You're finally growing up, Billy. You're growing up there.
Here's what's scary. You're listening to this idiot when it comes to health issues.
Yeah.
Talk to his wife. Talk to somebody.
Hey, no. Now listen to this. Now, when it comes to nutrition and stuff, I'm pretty on the ball now. I know just enough to be really dangerous, man. I'm pretty good at it.
Okay.
I've been doing it for about 20 years now, so
I like it.
I'm a natural healer. I'm a homeopathic guy.
Yeah.
I've got a little white coat syndrome in me, if you know what that is.
I really don't. Let's move on. Kelly, big game tonight at Bridgestone.
Yeah.
Preds and Vegas. So last night, I watched the Vegas-St. Louis game.
Yeah.
St. Louis ties it at 1-1 with about 5 minutes left. And it ended up going to overtime. In overtime, St. Louis kind of gets the first crack at it, and they get a penalty on Vegas that results in a penalty shot.
Oh, wow.
Very often. So the St. Louis guy comes hauling down, trying to win it. I'm cheering him on, and boom, it doesn't happen. And then 10 seconds later, Vegas scored to win. It was not a really good night for the Preds because Vegas got 2 points, and St. Louis, for forcing the game to overtime, got 1 point.
At 1 point, right.
This is a game the Predators would really like to win and sort of help put Vegas out of their misery.
Is Vegas, since Guy talked the other day, because I asked that question, is Vegas still missing some guys through injury? Or have they got everybody back?
I can't really tell you. I don't know that I know.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm with George.
Because they got everybody back. They're really good.
Oh, I mean, they won it all a year ago for a reason.
Yeah.
So at the moment, I think I've got this right.
Right now, the Preds own the first spot. They've got 88 points.
That would be the 7-hole.
The 7-hole.
Yeah.
And the 8-hole, Vegas, with 85 points.
So there's a 3-point difference. And at the moment, they've both played the same number of games.
They have both played
71.
Yeah, 71.
Yeah.
And both teams are playing well. The Preds have won 5 in a row. Knights have won 3 in a row. So this is a big game for. This could hopefully decide the 7 and 8 spot.
Well, let me take the Predators piece a little farther. In the last 17 games, the Predators have won 15 of those outright. They have taken the other 2 to overtime and lost in overtime. So they have gained 32 of a possible 34 points. And any of you out there who try to go, I saw this coming, you're lying. You're lying.
Lying.
I pay very close attention, and I still don't know how in the world this is happening. But I'll be there tonight.
Vegas tonight. Thursday night, they'll be in Arizona to play the Coyotes, and then Saturday in Colorado to play the Avalanche.
So, Arizona looks like by midsummer, we're going to know about their future. And my gut feeling is they're headed to Salt Lake City.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aren't the Jets thinking about moving too?
Oh, we've heard it. I can't imagine, because there was a time where Winnipeg was very strong and drew very well. I don't know what's going on up there, but I'm not doing any rallies in Winnipeg. Just for the record, I mean, nothing against the people.
Weren't they in the playoffs a couple of years ago where they had the whiteout up there? I mean, they seemed like they were really into it. They're talking about moving now, huh, Billy?
Yeah, I've heard about it. There's been a lot of talk about it. I don't know if it's the NHL trying to get. I mean, this sounds ridiculous, but get out of Canada somewhat. I mean, I've heard that, but I don't know. I'm not as deep into the hockey stuff.
Here's the other rumor: Atlanta. This would be the third go-round. Anson Carter, who a lot of you see on NHL Network, is supposedly leading the contingent to get some sort of a team in Atlanta. And the rumor there is to do a little bit like the Braves have done and move them up north, up toward Cobb County.
So, Cobb County. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
So we'll see.
We've also got the NFL owners meetings, of course, going on, and they have approved a massive revamp to the Kickoff,
which we're going to discuss later.
We will get into that later. So a little tease. Stay tuned for that. We've got couple of videos and a graphic to show you guys.
Really?
What's going on.
So you've taken Kelly's warning shots yesterday to heart.
Yeah. I mean, gotta up my game.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta get out of bed before noon. And we got to put a little show prep into action here.
Hey, get out what
is
you put
that
in.
get up before noon true?
That is not true. I don't
Because
know where
he's
Kelly's
brought
getting
that up a few times.
Billy, I'm not sure, Hoss. I'm not sure, Hoss.
I think Kelly's looking back to when he was in his 20s, when he woke up. That
I'm
might
not
be
sure,
it.
Hoss. I didn't get that. I had to go over to MTSU when I was growing up your age, a little bit younger than you. I had to get up at 5:30 and go over there for some stupid meetings.
Yeah, and then
told
what'd you do?
I just got off the phone with Coach Donnelly not too long ago, and we were talking, and it just brought up, when I'm thinking about this, it brought up like Coach Robbins when we started. He was my quarterback coach, but when we started training camp, the practice started at 8, guys. Okay, Billy, this shows you because you've never been injured in your life, so you hadn't really done much. But we started practice at 8. Okay, I had to be over there at 5:30, dressed in the meeting room. We spent an hour meeting and then went out on the field at 6:30 when all the dew was out. And this was an hour and a half before anybody else walked on the dadgum field, quarterbacks. And I told Coach Robbins one day, I said, for what, for who, man? What are we doing? Of course, I didn't say anything back then because I was 18, 19 years old. And I just thought this, but like we were the first ones by far on the field. It was crazy.
Right. If you could have it back, kind of tell us the conversation you would have with Boots.
If I could have it back, I would go in and I'd say, Coach Donnelly, like, who is this guy that's the quarterback coach, man? What are we doing? Like, is it really that big of a deal that we have to be over here at 5:30 in the dadgum morning dressed? Like, I had to get up at like 4:30 to get ready.
Yeah,
I mean, what are we doing?
That's obscene.
That's obscene. Like, what are we doing? But you know what?
Nothing
I will
good
say
happens
this.
at 4:30.
It paid off for me, man. It paid off for me because I had the greatest quarterback coach ever, man. He taught me so much football and it carried over my professional career. But I still talk to Coach
But
Robbins.
He could have done it at 8:30 instead of 4:30.
He could have done it we could have done it some other time, but that's just the way Coach Robbins is, man. He still works that way.
Also, NFL owners have agreed to move the trade deadline back 1 week to the Tuesday after Week 9 and authorized a significant expansion to the league's replay assist program.
We thank them for that gesture. Gosh, thank you.
We've also got some more NFL news out of Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to play 2 games on Christmas Day on a Wednesday this year, which is ridiculous.
This is
Monday,
called
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday now. Saturday, Sunday.
Apparently, the teams that will play on Christmas Day on that Wednesday will be scheduled to play the Saturday beforehand so that they can have an extra day to heal their wounds.
And I like this quote from NFL Executive Vice President Hans Schroeder. He says, when we saw the viewership from this past year, really our fans spoke. We certainly saw and believe that they are very much enjoying and wanting NFL football on Christmas.
Well, let me help him with this, okay? Because the way family dynamics work, after about an hour of all this lovey-lovey, kissy-kissy, hear your presence, then you go back to, warfare. And so the NFL game allows you not to talk to Uncle Billy or Aunt Jane, who you really didn't want to talk to. You didn't like the presents they gave you, and so the game is on and you're able to ignore Uncle Billy and Aunt Jane.
George, that is spot on. Me personally, I'd rather watch A Christmas Story. That's me personally. I've seen it for my 1,000th time, but I'd still rather watch it.
Here's another interesting piece. Obviously, the Giants struggled this year under Brian Daboll.
Really?
After a really good first year. He says he has regrets, but he is still evolving as a head coach. Of course, all the yelling and screaming that surrounded him, it's kind of had him feeling some regret. They went 6-11. He said, there are times I wish I handled things a little bit differently, certainly, so you continue to grow, continue to evolve. But I don't know if he's going to be saying that after next season when they could pull the can on him. But
Brian,
we'll see.
We all have regrets. If we're truthful.
Got to be who you are, though. You have to be who you are, because when you're not, I've been around coaches like that. Players know, and they know you're phony. And when you're found out that you're phony, people tune you out and stop listening.
That's what I got. Not the most meat on the bone today.
That's
but
it.
We got Tony coming up.
That's all we had today.
We do. We've got the NIT tonight.
But we got some graphics coming up, correct?
Oh yeah, we got some graphics, some video. It's gonna be good.
Nice.
But
so
in
you
the
put a lot
area
into
of
the NFL.
Oh yeah.
But in the area of update, a little shaky.
Well, what you start to do, George, is you put part of the update into its own segment.
Mm-hmm.
So if I get to it in the update, it's going to take away from it. So
okay.
I mean, UT girls got beat last night by NC State.
It was actually while we were on.
Yeah, Kelly Harper. Might have to ask Tony about that coming up. What's her seat looking like?
Yeah, seriously, what's going on with that?
It has a little Bunsen burner attached to it.
It's got a little charcoal underneath it.
It might be one that they've rented from Lexington.
Do they?
got a little
Kelly,
hot
you could call me crazy for this, and I don't know how much longer Rick Ensel's going to coach. But do they look at him?
Ooh,
boy.
I mean, why not? Why not?
You're. I mean, he's won. He's won a lot of games. He went 30-5 this year at Middle, and got them to the second round. And they had LSU on the ropes, and then LSU finally decided to start playing a little bit of defense. And I don't. You can do worse. That's for sure.
You can do a lot worse.
Yeah, he's a pretty good coach, man. He understands the game. Yeah, he can coach. I have to give him that, man. He can coach.
He can coach. We'll go to the break. Tony Basilio will join us from Knoxville. I'm worried about his health. Friday night, the game starts supposedly around 9:15 Nashville time, which means that the post-game Knoxville time would start like 12:30.
And this is if the first game ends on time before theirs.
We'll discuss that and more when we come back.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, "You need to call Bart Durham." And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
I'm Watson Brown.
I'm Kelly Holcomb.
I'm Billy Derrick.
We're the George Plaster Show. We've been Nashville's best sports talk for the last 30 years. And you know what? We still are.
Catch us live weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time in Nashville on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, the podcast version is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs. You know, in, 40, 45 years of broadcasting, you end up meeting a lot of really interesting people. I wish I had gotten to know Tony Basilio long before I did a couple of years ago. He has been a blast to have on this show, a good friend, and a Philadelphia Flyer fan. Check out what is, I think, one of the best logos in sports. There we go. That is one good-looking logo.
You on, boys. I've been rocking. I'm rocking my jersey. Kelly, I'm gonna have another late night this week, man. I don't know what to do with myself,
man.
but I'm having another late night. Huh?
You're doing it, though. You're doing your thing.
Well, we talked about it earlier. It doesn't seem like you could get on the air Knoxville time before about 12:30.
I mean, what are they trying to do to me? Look at me. I'm roached. I love that look on you, by the way. I'm for that, not against it.
You like it?
Yeah, George. Our game is supposed to start here 10:15-ish, which really means 10:30-ish.
Yes.
Which really means 12:30, 12:40-ish till we're on, which really means till we're off. I mean, what are you guys thinking till we're done? If it's 12:30-ish, how long till we're done? What do y'all think?
I'm giving you permission.
What's the number?
Well, 3 in the morning feels
three, yeah.
Yeah, conservative. So
yeah, we're going to do a listener watch party, but we're not going to do it now because, I mean, I don't even understand. I don't understand the point of having a guy like Connect and burying him. Do you guys? Does anybody understand that? Why would you do that? Why would you do that to this dude? Why would you bury that guy? Somebody tell me why. Why wouldn't he be on prime time? No.
Oh, yeah. Who knows? Who knows what they decide? I mean, they may be saying, okay, Tennessee's reach is in Tennessee and Kentucky and some North Carolina and a little bit of Georgia. And I don't know. Look, who knows how they decide this stuff, Tony? It's crazy.
It's nuts. It is. And today, did you see what the NFL's doing? The NFL's going to broadcast over the playoff games, the college football playoff on that Saturday.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah, so the news they broke today.
Friends.
So they did their news about their onside kick thing, or not onside kick, but their kickoff.
Yeah, the kickoff.
It. But the NFL is playing on the Wednesday of Christmas for the first time. So what they've done is they've taken 4 what they're calling national games, and they're moving them to the Saturday before, which is the day of the first round of the college football playoff.
Oh, that's...
So they're going right over the college football playoff.
Oh, wow.
That's not good. That's not
wild.
Cool.
No.
By the way, Tony, in my past, in an attempt to earn every last dollar humanly possible. 1996, final game, I think I'm right, Kentucky and Syracuse, when Kentucky under Pitino was wearing those silly denim jerseys. Remember?
Oh, boy.
Okay. So I was doing afternoon drive, but I was also, in an attempt to make more money, doing a television show at 10 o'clock at night. Greg Pogue and I were doing it. So we go through the first segment. Kentucky's won the national title. We'll be back to show you how it happened when we come back. And during the commercial, they turned the lights off in the studio. It's about 48 degrees, and I fell asleep. I just sort of went like that, and I quit the show the next day. I decided if I'm going to fall asleep in the middle, that's not good. I want you
not
going to
roll like not going to roll like Mike Francesa.
No, he's got more money than I do.
A wise man once told me, listen to your body. When you're falling asleep on the air, it might be time to, find something else to do. Somebody called me today and said, you said, did you say Saturday that Zakai Ziegler was Tennessee's most important player? And I said, I don't think so. Because, George, when you're on like at 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm capable of saying anything. I'm capable of saying, Kelly Holcomb's my main man. I mean, anything's possible at 1:30 in the morning, guys.
Right. But
we all know that's wrong.
Right, because you've accused Kelly of not being focused.
Kelly, I'm capable. Yes.
I know. We all know that's wrong because Watson's not in the room. So we get it. We get it, Tony.
Man, Watson's my guy.
So would you say that about me?
Well, it's easier. I mean, Watson's his second daddy.
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah, you're more kind of a cousin that luckily we only see once every 4 years.
I love Kelly. He's got a great spirit about him.
Thanks, Tony. Appreciate it. Tell that to George.
You got it.
Yeah, whatever. So what was the reaction Saturday night? Because it seems like it could range from they played like crap, but they won.
Yeah.
Or, and that's a real positive when you don't play great, or there could be I'm worried too many pieces in this offense, not part of it. Vescovi feels like he's gone in witness protection. What are they saying?
It was crazy. So I'm of the mindset that when you win a game in March, you won a game in March. And you need to kind of celebrate just what were madness. It's a perfect description of it because the tournament really doesn't make sense. And the longer time goes on, the more it becomes a sillier way to decide a national champion because it's just so random. Now, that said, when the dust settled after the first weekend, there's a lot of chalk. But anything can happen from here. 2 seed could win it all. 3 seed could win it all. I mean, anybody could win it. Anybody in that Sweet 16 could from here. So after the game the other night, the range of emotion we had was a couple people saying, well, Rick Barnes just says they're very good at this. And I'm going, he's in the Sweet 16 again. He's one of 5 coaches to make a Sweet 16 for back-to-back years. So he's not that bad at it. The second thing, George, is that then we started unpacking the numbers. And then we come to the realization that Tennessee is the only team tournament to shoot less than 15% from the field, 33% from the field, from the three-point line, 33% from the field, and live to tell about it. Teams before that were 0-66.
God.
Before Tennessee's game Saturday. They're the only team in the history of the tournament. So I, being of sound mind and appreciating a good narrative, pivoted directly when I found that out to this team's destined. Rick, the Vols have never done it. They've never been to a Sweet 16 or a Final Four. They've been to one Elite Eight. And this team's destined to do it. And that's where I parked today. They've got a Creighton team in front of them Friday. It's a really talented basketball team, but a Creighton team that Tennessee's going to get their hands all over. They're going to push them around. They're going to shove them around. They're going to play physically with them. And Creighton likes a free-flowing offense.
Yes.
Officiating crew, Georgia calls everything. They're not going to experience that against Tennessee.
Right.
They're just not.
Okay, let me try a couple of coaching questions that are not necessarily Tennessee. Here goes. Do you believe John Calipari has coached his last game at Kentucky?
He'd be fired by now, wouldn't he?
Well, but let me ask you this. You could flip it the other way and say, if they knew he was coming back, why aren't they saying it?
Well, that's a good question. That's a good point. I see where Richard Pitino Jr. emerged as a leading candidate at Louisville. Do you see that?
Larry Bud is not walking through that door.
Exactly. I thought that was, George, I thought that was, what's the word I'm looking for here? Parody. When I saw that. Richard Pitino Jr. at Louisville.
Can you imagine?
I mean, can you imagine? I mean, maybe that's what it's come to. I don't know, George. I think they're to the point where can they afford to fire him? Can they afford to keep him? They're almost in Jimbo Fisher territory with him right about now. Now, he promises, he was on his coach's show last night, that, hey, we're not going to go into the portal because my signees are good enough. The problem with them is they're too signee reliant and they're not portal heavy enough. He doesn't have enough men on his basketball team. That's been the problem when they get in these tournaments.
So you think he's staying?
I haven't heard he's going. So.
Okay. Secondly, we've all done our own little scouting reports here, but maybe we're a little too close to the forest to see the trees. Give me what you hear about Vandy's new coach.
George, a couple good sources of mine yesterday. I made a couple calls because I knew I was going to be on here. Say that while it's not a splashy hire, good coach who's won at a couple different places, and he's walked into situations similar to Vanderbilt, which is bottom of the rung in a particular league, and built them up. And he did it without the help of NIL. He did it with scouting acumen and with player development. And now he has an opportunity in a spot like Vanderbilt where, George, let's face it, this is a guy who's going to get a chance in a league with a hungry fan. And the thing I like about him is he doesn't play a slow brand of ball. He doesn't play a particularly fast brand of basketball, but it's somewhere in the middle. And I think it's a good hire for Vanderbilt. I think he'll do a nice job there. I really do. I think that he's won basically everywhere he's been. And were it not for some circumstances of some jobs he inherited, he would have been, we would know his name. Let's put it that way. He'd be a NCAA tournament coach, and we would all know his name. And it's an interesting hire. I mean, I can't believe they didn't hire Chris Mack, but apparently she didn't. I don't know, whatever the term is. They didn't get the warm fuzzies from him. But that said, this is a very intriguing hire to me. I don't dismiss this as a bad hire out of hand. I don't go like Richard Pitino at Louisville. I don't go, what the hell are you doing? That's not what this news made me say yesterday.
By the way, press conference Thursday, 4:00 Nashville time. We will do our show from Memorial Gym Thursday and are efforting right now to try to carry the press conference live. So let's flip Kelly into this. Kelly, I want you to be good to Tony. Okay, number one, because he's not getting rich doing this show. And secondly, he's worried about your focus. Throughout this entire time. I want you to be laser focused. Whatever the hell that means.
If you're asking me to be laser focused on this stuff, you probably got the wrong guy. I was laser focused playing ball, but at this, probably not so much. I'm
worried about my focus today, boys. I'm worried about my focus. But anyway,
I'm afraid you're going to fall asleep, big dog.
Oh,
you
man.
good?
I'm telling you guys, that deal, as you know, Kelly, like I'm 57, and you get a couple of those late nights going, and then the next night I had trouble sleeping because I was like vibrating. I don't want to get onto my and then you're gone. And so then you're just like, screw it. You feel like you're a million years old, when that happens.
Absolutely.
I felt that way when
totally
I got
agree.
up today.
Oh, Lord, George. Okay, I totally agree with what you said. I'm so glad you said that, too, because I think UT, they did not play the best game they had the other night. I mean, they had not played. They didn't play very good at all. They weren't making shots from the threes, but they still won the game against a very tough Texas basketball team.
Hey, listen, when you win any NCAA tournament game playing like that, you have to feel good about yourself. The hallmark of any team is to play poorly and win. And I try to tell people that in a post-game sense where everybody's like, hypercritical, and I'm going, but wait a second here. Defensively, the Vols were great. Defensively, they had a game plan. Texas has a kid named Brock Cunningham that Rick Barnes has known since he was knee-high to a grasshopper. A source told plan, they said, we can get under this guy's skin, we can draw technical. Now, they got, not only did they get a technical on him, but they got a flagrant 1. It should have been a flagrant 2. They should have gotten him thrown out of the game. So, point is, this week they're playing a team that's a finesse basketball team that plays 7 players, 3 guys in a double overtime game for Creighton against Oregon to show you how thin they are, played 50 minutes of college basketball. It's boys and girls. That is every minute. That's crazy. And so, and if Tennessee draws an officiating crew that lets them do what they're going to do, which is hold, push, pull a little bit, that whole thing, they should get by these guys. Second ever Elite Eight appearance in school history. And then they're probably going to face a Purdue team that, let's face it, is playing about as well as anybody in the country right now, this side of UConn. Tennessee gets there, it's house money, and it's Purdue. If Purdue gets there. And it's going to be an absolutely fantastic show that we are going to witness here. I mean, look at all those teams. You got, with Marquette, you've got the Shaka Smart factor. And NC State has that kid, the Dancing Bear, DJ Burns, who was in Knoxville. They reclassified him as a 17-year-old. And he was here. He missed his last year, and he was never going to play for Rick Barnes. And I mean, he is. I don't even know what you compare him to. He's like King Kong Bundy or somebody out there back in the day. Gonzaga, they're in their 13th straight Sweet 16. Is that any good? And they had a team that wasn't even going to qualify for the NCAA tournament this year. Duke is the evil empire. The entire world and everybody that's on the right side of anything is cheering for Hughes. The Vols going off. And when you say 9-10, George, you made me feel better about myself because that's actually 10-10 my time.
Yes.
Which is more like 10-20 or 10-30, which means 12-30 or 12-45, which means the next time I'm on here, I look roached right now. I look like Grandpa Munster next time I'm on this show.
You're absolutely right. So
Munster.
So the other night, George talked about it. Like it seemed like at the end of the game, guys were running from the ball. I kind of get that, but I did hear through the grapevine that Dalton Connect went up to Rick Barnes and said, "Hey, give me the ball." And the guy made 4 crucial free throws to end that basketball game. And if you're going to go further, you got to have a guy like that. We talked about it in the MVP of the SEC. He's a first-team All-American, but he ceases to amaze us with the things that he does. And he sealed the game the other night when Tennessee needed him the most. He came up big.
Kelly, he's got to be great. Friday. Was it Saturday? Friday. Saturday. He has got to be great. He can't be what he was. He's got to score 30 points. Now, he can't score 40. If he scores 40, they get out of whack, but he's got to score 30. And Zakai Ziegler's a key player in this game, too, because he's a tremendous defensive player who gets under people, and see if it's officiated the way Tennessee wants it to be officiated, it's a really good matchup for the Vols. They should get through this thing. I mean, I hope. I don't know how to feel about the game. I say on the air, I don't know how to feel about it. I've seen the Vols in this spot too much. I've seen Rick Barnes in this spot too much. But the Dalton Connect factor is certainly something different. And Zakai Ziegler wasn't here last year in this spot. This is his real first opportunity in one of these games, in a Sweet 16 game.
So let's change course here for a second. Y'all were talking about coaches. Talk about the Lady Vols. I mean, is Kelly Harper Jolly? I mean, is she on the hot seat?
No, I don't think they care enough about it for her to be on the hot seat.
Wow.
No. And I don't think an athletic director wants to get in the middle of a political thing. And the Lady Vol program here is a political deal.
Right.
And so, she's out there making like $800,000 or whatever she's making. And they're at the spot now where they have a night sport. They're no longer a factor in women's college basketball. They're just not. And I don't think
that's
an
true.
Athletic director wants to get. I mean, if you're him, right, and you do your due diligence and you decide, hey, you're going to go outside the Lady Vol family. Why would you do that? Right. Why would you spend political capital on that? Know what I mean? When as an AD, you only have so much political capital as an AD. And if you get in the middle of that, I mean, Minder's kind of content just to sort of kick the can down the road. And it's weird because they are literally the only team right now not playing at like a high level in their sport. Football has playoff aspirations next year. The basketball team has been elite on the men's side, has been elite for several years. I mean, they don't have the March hardware to show it, but they've been elite for several years. They've been there. The baseball team. I mean, Billy Derrick won't believe this, but they've been to a couple College Worlds. I mean, this guy's pretty good at what he does. You have the softball team playing among the tops in the sport, and the only team that's not pulling their weight is the women's basketball program, and they've just kind of lost their way.
Billy, I get the feeling that this lack of acknowledgement of Tennessee baseball, it could be hurting your resume.
Yeah, that's probably that'll be a kicker when it comes to
I think when he looked at the resume, there was a lot of, it's pretty impressive.
Well, I love Billy. Billy is and George, this is a good, to me, it is a great thing that anybody can say about somebody. Billy has a take and he's not afraid to give it, but he hates my man, Tony Vitello. And it's personal. It's not like it's personal.
Billy, why is it personal?
It goes back to several things.
He didn't recruit you.
Say?
Yeah, well, let's say that.
He's not lying. Billy's not lying. Is Billy lying? Did Billy hedge off it?
I've just never been the biggest fan of him, but he runs a dominant program.
Yeah, but I mean, it could be stopping you from being a part of this midnight to 3 a.m. deal.
Oh, God.
You never know.
I don't want to imagine
that. Yeah, I mean, so
what have I got myself into?
So, Tony, do you know what tonight is?
Tonight is hockey night in Canada.
Well, also in Smashville.
So,
the Vegas Golden Knights.
A precursor of what we could see in the conference final, big boy.
Ooh,
are you excited
to that?
Are you believing? Are you believing right now? Are you
I don't
believing?
have any choice but to believe. I don't understand it. I don't know how it's happening. Tony, they had in their last 17 games, 34 possible points. They have collected 32. How insane is that?
The Flyers would already be in the playoffs if they would have done anything similar to that. We are in New York tonight, and I'm thinking about betting against my own team, going for some blood money. I mean, that's kind of what it's come to. But the Preds right now, what I love about the Preds, George, is getting those contributions from all those down the line guys.
Yeah.
When you get second and third line guys scoring, and scoring and taking off.
Yes, and
those
that's
are
what's
teams
happening.
that can literally win Stanley Cups. They could win a Stanley Cup this year if they keep playing that way. There's no reason
Bring
they
it
can't.
on. Bring it on,
It's
because I
so
expect
fun.
to see you in early May, perhaps
Hey, Kelly,
late April.
Kelly, in 2017, Kelly, when they went on their run, did you get caught up in it? Did you go down there?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I didn't go down there, but I watched every game. I did watch it. Absolutely.
He didn't even know they were in.
So you didn't get it.
That's not true. But that's not true, George. George,
okay.
I'm going to choke you if you start all that.
So you didn't get a chance to go down there and see like all the people. You didn't get a chance to get among them.
No, I've been down there before games. I have been, but I didn't get down. I didn't get down there at that time. I did watch it, and I was supporting him. That was a remarkable time in Nashville history. That's for sure. And we need it back.
You know what was interesting,
George? Yeah,
Tony. After the fact, several months later, Peter Laviolette and I were next to each other on a head table at an event, and I said to him something about it, and he goes, "I'll tell you one thing." He said, "If I ever get to experience this again," he said, "I'll open the door and look outside." He said, "I didn't do that, and I feel like I really missed something." He said, "If it ever happens for me again, I'm going to soak in all that fun."
It's hard when you're in the middle of the storm, right? I would think.
Yeah.
I mean, come up to a stadium. Well, you probably get there way before anybody else, but when people are going crazy and you're a part of something, I mean, you'd love to go outside and hang out with people. And unfortunately, it's just not the world we live in. But I believe that, George, because that time was just so completely unique. I remember walking up to the arena in the conference final that night with my son Anthony, and we looked back, and there was thousands and thousands of people, and I was like, "What in the world is going on here?" It was incredible.
Crazy. It was absolutely insane. I want it to happen again. Hey, so for those people after Tennessee beats Creighton that want to hear you until the wee hours, how do they do so?
tclub.team or over on my Twitter handle. I think it's at Tony Basilio. I almost forgot my name.
That's a bad sign.
We're going to have a lot of fun. We were going to have a listener watch party that night, but we're not now. But I'll tell you how crazy this thing is. You guys will appreciate this. I actually play some music, so I'm sort of a musician. And I'm going to play out with my group that night. We play from 7 to 10 Eastern time. And then I'm going to actually pack my stuff up, come home, watch the Tennessee game, and then talk about it after playing a night of music.
If you change your mind and decide to have a watch party, I will loan you Billy, because I think he needs to be a part of that. I think he needs to be humbled a tad bit.
I love Billy, but if we had Billy at a listener watch party, we'd probably have an international incident.
I don't want that. Yeah,
I love Billy. Billy's
first time you pop off about Vitalo, they're gonna beat the crap out of you.
Yeah, because Tony might be there.
Yes.
Hey Tony, hold on, George. I got one more question. Have you interviewed the Peter Malnati guy that won the PGA? He lives in Knoxville. You know that.
I love that. You know, he is the guy that beat. Here's a funny little Malnati story. The guy that beat Creighton twice, Kim English, who was on at Providence. He's Providence's coach now. Played at Missouri.
Yeah.
Him and Malnati became fast friends during the quarantine. They both have the Missouri thing as their, as a tie. But he got him into golf. He got English into golf. And they are like boys. And Kim English has set up the game plan and really is helping Tennessee behind the scenes on their game plan. So it's a really small world. We're tying the Malnati thing back into the NCAA tournament. But that's a great story. He has a terrific reputation around town as being a really great.
Good for him.
Good for him. Yeah.
Hey, take a nap.
Don't you know it? Thanks, guys.
See you, Tony.
See you, guys.
He's the best. First of all, I love his willingness to laugh at himself.
Oh, he's awesome.
That endears him to me right off the bat. But it's amazing for two people that had been in this business. We really had not come in contact with each other. I knew of him mostly through Mark Griffin, and I think vice versa. And gosh, what a gem he has been for us. Can't say thank you
awesome.
enough.
Absolutely.
We'll go to the break, and we'll have a few minutes of yapping about Tennessee, and then Taylor Barnett will join us, hopefully with a nice backdrop. Either way, that's coming up next.
Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Tracks machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Convenience and value, two words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
Okay, so Kelly, real quickly, do you share Tony's optimism on Tennessee's front?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a tough game against Creighton, especially if Creighton gets hot. I do think. Well, I'm going to tell you that big dude. I don't remember his name for Creighton, but he's over 7 foot. That kid, he's got a knack of blocking shots. I mean, I know Jonas Adu is about the same size, but he's a big old boy. So, I mean, once you get to this part of March Madness, when you get to the Sweet 16, playing really good basketball teams. And, you know, I know everybody was down on Tennessee the other night, thought that they should have beaten Texas, but I really like what Tony said, because I had no clue about that stat. They were, what did he say, 0-66 from shooting that little three-pointers. So I thought they struggled through that game, but I said it yesterday, in March, all you have to do is advance. And when it came the crunch time at the end of the game, Dalton Connect went to the free throw line and sealed the game for those guys. So you're going to have a game like that. And I don't know, this Creighton team is really good. And if they're on fire shooting the ball, it could be a long night. And Tennessee's not shooting the ball, but I think, you know, you're seeing a 2.5 point favorite right there at UT. I think that they will get through this, but I'm not sure. You have to have a little bit of luck when it gets to this point of the tournament. And I can see them getting through this one, but I can see them struggling, you know, from then, because I think Purdue's playing really well.
Yeah, Kelly, I think you're right about Kalkbrenner. He's a dangerous matchup at 7 feet tall.
Oh.
Now, Jonas Adu is going to be on him, and I think Adu matches up pretty well with him. But I'll be watching that one, because if Adu gets in early foul trouble and they got to bring in Awaka, and Awaka, I mean, he gets 2 fouls every time he's in the game, just like that. So I think Kalkbrenner is a guy to watch for Creighton if he goes off.
That's what happened in the Auburn game too, Billy, is Janai Broom got Jonas Adu in foul trouble because he was just going right at him. And I don't know if that's the kind of player that the Creighton kid is. I mean, he can make shots. I mean, I think he's talented, but it would just be interesting to see. And if you can get him in trouble, in foul trouble, I don't think the kid from Creighton's going to get in foul trouble. I think he's pretty savvy. But if you can get an Adu and the Awaka kid in foul trouble, then, you know, they've got a shot in this game.
A little bit of a shock to me, excuse me, on the Creighton side is that Greg McDermott's name either has not come up more than it has, or he's just squashed it all very early and said, look, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying at Creighton. I would have thought his name would get out there more in the rumor mill. And at least what I've seen, it's been quieter than I thought.
But some folks, George, it's like, what do you want in life? I mean, he's been at Creighton for so long. I mean, his son played for him. He's got everything he wants right there. I mean, he's got a good basketball team. He loves coaching kids. He makes the NCAA tournament about every year. Like, I mean, do you want to change that? Or are you comfortable with where you're at? And maybe if you get a player here or a player there with a new, you know, portal and all that stuff, then he might have a chance to win a national championship at Creighton. So just depends on what your motivation is.
Well, that's a little bit of what you have to ask yourself. Can you win a national title at Creighton? I don't think so.
Probably not.
But he's 4 wins away from maybe proving me wrong.
Well, he's probably 1 play away from getting to the Final Four last year. If you remember that San Diego State game, got pretty iffy there late with the officials.
Right.
Here's the one thing about Creighton. It's one of the most underrated fan bases in the country.
Mm-hmm.
When I think of underrated, Creighton.
They travel well.
Providence, before they fell flat on their face, Wichita State. And in the old days, 20 years ago, you'd have put Vandy in that underrated fan base stuff. Creighton, their arena is right across the street from where the College World Series is played. And so I've gotten a chance to see it. Beautiful facility. Seats about 17, and they put about 17 in every night they play. So good for them. So do we want to go ahead and go stat of the day and then move from there?
Let's do it. Stat of the day brought to you by John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville. They're open during the week, Tuesday through Friday. Excuse me, this cough is getting me. Tuesday through Friday from noon to 5, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5. Give them a call, 931-492-4304. All right, see what we got. We're going baseball. I don't know if you'll be able to phone a friend here, but you may have it. We're 2 days away from opening day. Who has the longest or the largest contract extension of all time in baseball history?
Well, now, what do you mean by that? Because I'm not sure I get Are you asking in years? Are you asking in dollars?
Largest. Well, I didn't make this. This was tied.
Yeah, this is
the longest or largest?
Largest.
The largest would feel like Shohei Ohtani, based on the number of dollars involved in his free agent contract.
George, this is, I know this is throwing something out there, and I don't think it's nowhere near the money, but like, didn't Bobby Bonilla get a lifetime contract?
Bonilla got a deal that turned out the way he structured it, he got paid a bunch of it after the fact.
Yeah, after he finished playing, right?
And I'm trying to think of the date every year that he gets like $1.1 million.
Yeah, something like that. It's crazy.
I don't think it's opening day, but I don't remember what day it is. So, Billy, just for the heck of it, go ahead and put out there whatever you're going to put out there.
Mookie Betts.
Mookie Betts.
His extension with the Dodgers is the largest signed by a player in terms of new guaranteed total money added on to a player's existing contract.
New guaranteed total money.
Mm-hmm.
It's Shohei Ohtani.
There was a lot of small print in that.
But Ohtani deferred. If you
remember.
True,
he has taken a bunch of it and then sent some of it to.
Let's stop there.
Yeah, let's do stop there. Either way, listen, Mookie Betts has done all right. Overton High School.
He's going to be playing shortstop
Nashville, Tennessee, and hopefully he's looking up at the Braves.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we're 36 hours away from opening day.
In LCS.
I bet Taylor Barnett knows nothing about it. Let's bring him up here as we welcome all of you into the 3 o'clock hour. What is your knowledge of baseball?
I do not follow the MLB all that well, but I was at a work function about a year and a half ago in Chattanooga, and I got a text from a diehard Red fan. It said, "Hey, let me know what you think about Ellie De La Cruz," because he was playing that night, and that was where the work function was for the AAA team in Chattanooga, the Lookouts, I think. Is that what they are?
Keep going.
Yes.
You didn't know that, did you, George?
No, I didn't know. I did know.
And so it was pretty cool to see, 6 months later, if that, here's this guy absolutely causing the city of Cincinnati, along with Joe Burrow, just electricity to sent right through it. So I'm excited to see what the Reds do this year. I am.
Well, you should be. I went in late June when they were in the middle of that double-digit winning streak, and on a Friday night they beat the Braves 11-10, and I have never seen downtown Cincinnati hopping the way it was. It was really pretty cool.
He's electric.
Yeah. Okay, so Lexington native Taylor Barnett. Is Calipari getting shown the door?
I have no idea. If you're asking if I've got some inside source in Lexington, I don't. I haven't asked enough, or I don't care enough to ask a lot of questions. I don't know. I mean, $33 million is a lot of money. Are there some people that are willing to pay it? I'm sure, but I don't know. I think what Kentucky fans really want is to see just like a level of responsibility and a level of humility, and just ownership. It's easy to say, "Oh, fire John Calipari," but like I really do think like John is like a Hall of Fame coach. I think the times have changed. People want to see wins in the NCAA tournament. That hasn't happened in the last couple of years. It's like his whole thing is, well, we've made dreams come true for families, and that's true. What I'd also counter to that is if those kids would have gone somewhere else, they're probably still going to get drafted in the lottery, and their dreams would still come true. So I think I don't know. I think that there's a lot of room for change for him in the way that he operates Kentucky. I don't know if he's willing to do that. I don't know if that's the conversation that Mitch Barnhart's going to have with him, that there's going to be, hey, these things got to change or it's not going to work. I don't know. But I do think there's room for opportunity. I do think he's a Hall of Fame coach. It's just a really hard job.
Okay, let's take the negative. Let's say that he is gone. I've put 3 names out there that I believe are your tier 1, and you've heard them all: Billy Donovan, Brad Stevens, Jay Wright. Is there anybody else that you think of that you say, George, this person belongs in that list, the top of the line?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. People that are still, well, I mean, Jay Wright's not in coaching anymore. I don't think that he would take the job. I don't think Billy Donovan would take the job. Anybody that's in coaching or just removed from coaching, I don't think so. I think the one guy that is a college head coach right now that would be the number 1 target is Scott Drew. You know, I think that's a pretty known thing. I mean, Brad Stevens, I don't think he would get back in. I think if he was going to get back in, he'd already be back in. You know, I just don't see that happening. I think Scott Drew would be the number 1 target, but what do I know? I mean, he's a great coach. He rebuilt a program that was in shambles, and he's won a national championship now. So I think that would be probably option A.
Okay, I'm going a little farther with this, and I know it makes you uncomfortable, which is part of the reason it's so much fun to do it. So let's say there is a change at Kentucky. Should the next guy come in and say, look, let's cut the crap. We don't need to do this one and done thing. You know, we're not buying this John trying to save the world. He wasn't trying to save the world. He was trying to win as many basketball games as he could. And there are a lot of people that believe that Kentucky would be better off just doing it straight up. Not all this one and done, but do some recruiting, do some transfer portal. What is the best way for Kentucky to operate if they get rid of humanitarian John?
Well, I mean, yeah, people like to say they're really young this year, and you can say that, but they also had Antonio Reeves, who's a senior. They had Trey Mitchell, who's a senior. I mean, they had some older guys, and one of them was their leading scorer. So, I mean, you can say, oh, we're young. Well, yeah, you had some young guys that were crazy talented and really good, but you also had some older guys too. So, I mean, I think that is how is going to work, you know, especially at the high major level with NIL, is that you still are able to get some really good high school players and you mix it in with some really good transfers that are older. And then you try to keep a few guys around and develop them. And that's just going to be really hard now. But I think the team that they had this year, I mean, that's really good. And they had a couple older guys.
Okay. So on the nights that they were really good, they were good enough to go to Auburn and be the only team that ever sniffed winning down there and one going away. When they were really good, they were good enough to go to Tennessee and show the Vols on that particular night who Daddy was. They went to Florida and won. They beat North Carolina on a neutral site. But then they've got this other side of them that really doesn't look so good, and they got beat by something called Oakland, which apparently is not the Raiders. Did you like that?
Yeah, that was good. That was clever.
So why the big swings in that team?
Yeah, I think that, well, for one, I mean, Oakland, Golke hits 10 threes. I mean, and some of those shots were tough. I mean, that was a special night for that team, and that was a good team. They have some good players, and a guy hits 10 threes. I mean, that's unprecedented. I think that's every team, though. It just happened at the wrong time for them. Every team has lost games this year that they shouldn't have, and won some they shouldn't have as well. And I think that in Kentucky's situation, they lost one that they shouldn't have in the worst time that you could lose one. And sometimes that happens. It seems to happen a little bit more frequently in the last few years with Kentucky, and that's the problem.
What do you think that Bruce Pearl was thinking Sunday night when he turned on San Diego State's massacre of Yale, he had to be kicking himself going, how did we let this happen?
Yeah, what a missed opportunity. I mean, come off an SEC championship and then that happens. It's just it really has got to be super disappointing. And I mean, I know one of their players got thrown out, and people are like, and he's one of their guys, like glue guy. Like I think they would have won the game if that didn't happen. You know, they still could have won the game, but I just think that like it just talk about a missed opportunity, and there's that's unfortunate that kid got thrown out. I mean, people want to argue it's level one, flagrant one, flagrant two. He should have been, kicked out. He shouldn't have been kicked out. But like, it's still a selfish play at the end of the day. And I think that kid's got a lot of regret for doing that.
Okay. Last thing from me, and then you'll get better questions from Kelly. UConn, Purdue, Houston. Which of the three is the most likely not to be in the Final Four?
Oh man, I personally believe that UConn is a lock. I think they're just rolling and they're really good. My heart is with Houston. I love watching them play. I saw a video of Jamal Shed earlier when they lost last year at Alabama, and someone kicked over the trash can. He's picking it up and throwing the trash away. I got to root for a guy like that. I think they play so hard. So I'm going to say out of those three, I'm going to say Purdue. I think Tennessee might get them in the Elite Eight, although I think Zach Edey is proving right now that you can win with a big in the NCAA tournament.
I've decided that what he's really doing. Did you ever have one of these Nerf ball goals as a kid?
That's what he is right now.
Yeah, I mean, when he uses that arm span, I mean, it's like putting a Nerf ball in a Nerf goal.
It's unbelievable, and he's an anomaly. I think what he's done is incredible, and I don't know, Gonzaga, I think, is playing with a chip on their shoulder. People were talking at one point they weren't going to get in the NCAA tournament, which is just stupid. And I think they'll put up a good fight, but I don't see Purdue losing that one. I think Zach Edey will go for 30 and 15 again.
As good as Graham Ike is.
Yeah, no doubt. I just think Zach Edey's on another level right now of dominance.
Okay, Kelly, it's your shot to talk to Mr. Ellsworth Systems.
That's right.
So George is doing his best to get John Calipari fired at this point in his life. So if that actually does happen, which I don't think there's no way that that's going to happen, but if that actually does happen, what would be your reservations as a coach of going in and taking over at the University of Kentucky?
I mean, the expectation is to win a national championship every year.
Right. I get that.
There's so much pressure. Yes, it's an awesome fan base and people really do care, but there's a level where it's like, golly, I think people care a little too much. Like if your week is ruined by some college players losing a basketball game, you might need to take a look in the mirror. So I just think that there's so much pressure and expectation that it makes it a really hard job. And I think, Coach Cal has done a great job of handling that for so long. But, man, to do that for as long as he's done it, and it weighs on you. It takes a toll.
So we just had Tony Basilio on talking UT basketball, and I didn't realize this. Like, they didn't play great the other night, but they still won the game, which that matters at this time of year in the NCAA tournament. Just win in advance. That's all we're trying to get. And then when it came crunch time, Dalton Connect stepped up there and hit 4 free throws in a row. But just talk about how you've got to have a game like that, because he brought up a stat. I think it was 0 for 66. Is that what he said, George, about teams that hit that few 3-pointers in a game in advance? And they actually were the first team to do that. So that seemed like a tough win to me for a UT team that didn't play very good. And Texas was playing pretty good the other night.
Yeah, I didn't know that stat, but wow. I mean, what a good sign. If you're winning, that's awesome. I think, Dalton Connect is the outlier and the guy that Tennessee has been needing. This Tennessee team was the same last year as is this year, plus him. I mean, that's He's the outlier. He's the guy that's clutch. He's the guy that hits 4 free throws at the end of the game. He's the guy they've been missing. And I mean, I think that they are more motivated than ever. Rick Barnes is tired of hearing about how he doesn't win an NCAA tournament, all this noise. I think that, he gets a win over, where he used to coach. I mean, I know that game probably meant a lot to him. And I think they're gonna beat Creighton. I do, and I think they have a real shot of beating Purdue and going to the Final Four. And so I think that they're gonna put it together next game offensively.
Give a little game plan of the Creighton UT matchup. Give us a little bit of detail of what you think is going to happen in that game.
Well, I think for one, the number one key to Tennessee's defensive game plan is we gotta run them off the 3-point line, and that's what they're good at. I mean, Tennessee knows how to guard. They really do, and so I think that they've really got to contest every single shot. They can't give open threes. They can't give up transition threes. They have to have really good, solid transition defense. I mean, and then just the things that they do, like don't give up offensive rebounds, don't give up easy transition points. They have what it takes, in my opinion, defensively to win a national championship because they have principles. They have a system and it works. And so they need to just continue to play into that at the best level that they can.
So there's a lot of intriguing games, obviously, when you get down to this. But out of all the Sweet 16 games, which one are you most interested in? Is there one or two of them that you're most interested in of really looking forward to watching play?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to the national championship rematch. I mean, Jaden Ledee is awesome. I think he is awesome. So I'm really intrigued by that. I want to watch that. I think UConn will win, but I also am like, man, that's crazy, And I really have a lot of respect for Jaden Ledee and how much he's improved. They have Lamont Butler; he was there. They've both those teams have been there, so I'm excited to watch that one. I think the Illinois-Iowa State game could be just an all-out war. I think that'll be great. UNC Alabama is going to be like a ping pong match. And I'm interested to see UNC's defense because they really know how to guard. I'm interested to see how they defend. Those are probably the most intriguing. I mean, they're all intriguing to me. Houston Duke. I mean, Duke just beat James Madison by 40. And Houston goes to overtime with Texas A&M. These are some good games to me. Like, I'm really excited about them. I think the only one that could get a little bit out of hand is Marquette and NC State. I think NC State's run might be over.
So you're still back in. So my last deal is you're still back in the Cougars.
My heart says Houston. Yeah, my head says UConn though. I just think I would love to see Jamal Shed. I don't even know the guy, but I love his mentality, his leadership, how he goes about handling himself on the court, and how hard he plays. I just want to see a kid like that win.
Taylor, somebody asked a minute ago, why did I leave North Carolina out? And here is, I guess, the question. When I mentioned the Big Three, because I don't think North Carolina's in the Big Three. I don't think they're at Houston and Purdue and who else am I leaving out here? UConn's level. I don't think they are. Now, I think there's certain nights where Carolina is really good, but I don't see them every night at the level of those three.
Yeah, I do think that they've got every bit of a chance as anybody else to make the Final Four. I mean, they're old. RJ Davis has gotten so much better in his time there, and he's an elite level scorer. Armando Bacot has been there for like 9 years. I mean, he's experienced. He's an amazing rebounder. Harrison Ingram has been phenomenal for them out of the transfer portal. So I think they've got the pieces, and they guard. They really get after you, and I think that's something that you have to have. I think they'll beat Alabama. I'm really curious to see if Clemson can beat Arizona. I'd like to see that for Brad Barnell. I think that would be a cool thing for him as a guy that's always on the hot seat. It seems like for him to make an Elite Eight would be pretty cool. But I do think UNC is legit. I think they got a chance.
Okay, we'll see. The beauty of the lack of upsets early is you've got all this chalk at the top. Something's going to give this weekend. Taylor, thank you as always.
Appreciate it. See you guys.
Taylor Barnett joining us for his weekly visit on the show. After the break, you're no longer going to see the kickoffs the way you used to. Billy supposedly has a graph.
Supposedly.
This is big.
Yeah.
We'll find out what it looks like right after this. Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday.
Yo, you want to see something cool? No? Well, I'm going to do it anyway.
Step into the scene. No, nobody can do it like me. Zoop house plate with the kick cuisine. I was the blacktop king. 360s in my green machine. I was a kid and I was breaking down doors. Listening to Tribe, now we on a world tour.
Convenience and value, two words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
You know, starting to save for your future doesn't have to be difficult. Let Wilson Bank and Trust help tone up your financial goals this year. Our certificates of deposits or CDs can help your money work harder with our competitive rates, earning you more than ever before. WBT checking options allow you to earn rewards you can really use, like a high interest rate or cash back on check card purchases when you meet some e-banking qualifications. Visit your closest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC.
We're back. I think I heard this stat correctly. This past season in the NFL, 21% of NFL kickoffs were returned, meaning 79% touchback.
Yeah.
So they decided, they being the special teams coaches in the league, that we got to do something or our jobs are going away. And so they put a proposal in front of the NFL owners that ultimately passed today. One of its biggest proponents was Super Bowl champion coach Andy Reid of the Chiefs. And so let's take a look at whatever Billy may have put together here.
Well, here's an example video here from the XFL. Obviously, kickers will continue to kick from the 35-yard line, but the other 10 players on the kickoff team are going to line up at the receiving team's 40-yard line. At least 9 members of the return team will line up in a setup zone between the 35 and 30-yard lines. And as you can see, this is returned every time. So that, it's not like a lot of these are, no returns. That's I think that's a big part of this. Up to 2 runners can line up in a landing zone between the goal line and the 20-yard line. And this is a look at the zones. The ball's at the 35 if it goes out of the end zone, which is the purple there. The ball's at the 40 if it doesn't reach the landing zone. That landing zone, that light brown area right there.
Yeah, so you got a little wedge shot.
Yeah, the ball's at the 20 if it hits the landing zone and rolls into the end zone. And then it must be returned if it's received in the landing zone.
So you're not allowed a dribble kick?
Dribble kick.
Well,
like
where you don't put
when
any
you're
air under it.
Right.
Squib kick.
A squib kick.
I don't think you're – in the event a team wants to attempt an onside, it'll have to inform officials of its intent and would then be allowed to use the NFL's traditional formation. No surprise onside kicks will be allowed, so I would guess no squib kicks would be allowed. But in this zone area, I think that might be a gray area of maybe allowing a type of squib. I'm not positive on that.
So, Kelly, given the fact that the play had just about been tossed out of football,
right?
They're doing this as a 1-year experiment. They're giving it a year to determine whether they like it. I don't see that they've got a lot to lose.
No, I mean, you want to keep that in the game. I mean, the other thing is just taking it out of the game, which nobody wants. I mean, it's a part of the game that special teams is a third of the game. So you got to keep it in the game. But last year, like you said, what was it? 29%, did you say?
21%, meaning 79% were
not
touchbacks.
returned.
Yeah.
That's correct. So my question to Billy is, he was rattling all that stuff off, and it was, y'all are from private schools. I went to Lincoln County, dude. So it went over my head a little bit. But if they kick it in the end zone, did you say if they kick it in the end zone, where's it coming out to?
Go real slow for Kelly.
Yeah, if they kick it out of the end zone, the ball's at the 35-yard line. But it has to be out of the end zone. I guess that's technically into the end zone.
Into the end zone. So they bring it out to the 35. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to penalize you. They want you to kick it into the landing zone.
Yes.
So that you'll have a return.
Yes. And it's at the 40 if it doesn't reach the landing zone. So these kickers are going to and these coaches are going to tell these kickers, kick it in the landing zone so we get a return.
I remember when the NFL went to the extra point that essentially is a 33-yard field goal, and we all gasped in horror the day.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, but, I mean, you look now, nobody says anything.
No, I like this move. I mean,
I don't see
the
where
kickoff was taken out of the game.
Yeah, I see where they have nothing to lose here.
No, I agree, and it's going to penalize you if you put it into the end zone. That's how you got to do it. I mean, it's not coming out to the 25 or the 20 anymore, the 25, which they moved it. Now it's coming out to the 35. So now you're going to get special teams coaches. You're going to get all these guys in the meetings, and they're going to say, "Do not kick that ball in the end zone.
Yeah.
Do not kick it," because we cannot allow them a 65-yard field. I mean, it was. When they had it at the 20, 80 yards is a long way to go in the National Football League. But now that's almost two first downs further up. And everything is produced on first downs. Like, that's hidden yardage. When I used to get so angry at kids that didn't go catch a punt because they don't want to mess it up. Well, you go up there and fair catch it, because when you let it bounce and it bounces 20 yards, that's 2 first downs that you just took away from the offense. So I see what they're doing right here. I like it. They're trying to take those big collisions out. I don't mind it. I mean, we just have to see how it works. But it's putting something back into the game that when you got these big leg kickers that just kick it in the end zone every time, like a Justin Tucker from Baltimore. I mean, you're never going to get a return. So you're taking one facet of the game out, and this is going to help them bring that facet of the game back.
And for the returner, these coaches are going to say, hey, if you catch it or you let it bounce in the landing zone, pick it up and run, because if it rolls into the end zone, we have the ball at the 20. instead of
so
potential 35.
It seems like, Kelly, what we're going to have is an off season where the kickers are going to try to figure out how to put a ton of air under it in a pop-up between the goal line and the 20. How big an adjustment is this for them?
That's an adjustment, man. You got some big leg guys that their whole career they've been trying to kick it into the end zone. Now it's a detriment if you kick it into the end zone. You've got to figure out just what that feels like getting it from the 20 in. So that's different. I mean, that's a lot of practice that they're going to have to do, but kickers always, I mean, you look down there and the kicker and the punter and the long snapper are always doing stupid little games, and the special teams coach is down there, so they'll figure it out. I mean, it's just something that you got to figure out, but it is an adjustment for those guys who are used to kicking it as far as they can.
I'll be interested to see, because the NFL kickers are a lot better than the XFL kickers. So does this kind of become an advantage for some of these really good kickers who can find a loophole in this? And that'll be interesting, because the XFL, let's face it, those are not the NFL kickers and players and even returners.
Did they announce the vote?
Let's see. They did.
Well,
the proposal passed by a vote of 29-3.
29-3.
Yeah,
wow.
Here's another thing, guys, is that you get it's going to give some more kickers jobs, because now you don't have to have the biggest leg in the world like a Nick Folk who's getting older. I don't even think he kicked off last year. So I've seen the Indianapolis Colts take 3 guys before. You had a punter, you had a field goal kicker, and you had a long kicker. So that's going to kind of take the long kicker out. Like if you're a field goal kicker and you don't have the tremendous leg, that helps you keep your job,
Yeah. Yeah, and they can tweak it. It's going to go into effect for 1 year, and then they'll look it over, put any tweaks in that they need to do, and look it over.
I like it.
It's very interesting that the special teams guys were able, in that short an amount of time, to get such a consensus vote. To me, that's one of two things. Either they did an incredible job of showing all the ownership groups, here's what we're talking about, or there was such a fear or a backlash to all these kickoffs going through the end zone. I never, look, I didn't like it, but I never felt like I was getting any big backlash.
Yeah, instead of getting up and grabbing a sandwich or a beer, you're gonna stay for the kickoff now. I think a lot of people now.
Yeah. Most special teams guys though are ideas guys. I mean, they have to like if you look at it, I mean, they've got to do the kickoff return, punt coverage, and then field goal block and field goal. So they got a lot of stuff on their plate. So they have to weed through that every week, and they've got a lot of ideas. Most of those guys are ideas guys, and it doesn't surprise me at all that it didn't take them very long to come up with that. Plus, the XFL has done it. I mean, you might hate on the XFL, but they started doing it. And I think it's a really good, like if you're trying to take concussions and all these mass hits out of the game, that's one way to do it right there. And it brings something that is exciting back to the NFL, which is the kick return.
By the way, the spring league starts this week.
Ooh. You mean you're not going to help Rock out with his new league?
Here's what I don't get, Kelly. And I guess I've really changed my tune about it. There was a time where I thought it was a really good thing, but I've come to the conclusion that when you get to April and May and June and the weather starts to get warmer, people are not going to stay inside to watch the Birmingham Stallions.
I agree.
They're not.
I agree. I can't. I've tried to watch it, man. I've tried to, but it's just like you're used to watching spring practice games. I mean, I guess on the SEC network and go to spring games. That's normal for college football, but like a professional league in the off season, it's hard to get used to, man. It really is.
I don't know what the answer is, but I know this. It feels like if people are given a choice on a 75-degree day of getting outside after a full winter of being cooped up, they are not staying in to watch the Birmingham Stallions. Nothing against Birmingham.
No, nothing. I agree.
They're not staying in to watch Memphis.
I agree.
I don't even know who all the teams are.
I don't
Ask
either.
me if I care.
I'll say there were some good crowds in St. Louis.
St. Louis is the one.
Battlehawks.
Yeah, they were the one team where it seemed to really resonate. And I don't know why that is, other than they're
just sad they don't have an NFL
to show.
team
Yeah,
anymore.
they're wanting to show the NFL you made a mistake.
Yeah.
Speaking of mistakes,
Yours yesterday was a mistake.
It turned out to be, although I was really close to winning it. Plaster bet of the day.
Yeah, so we're not going to the break first?
No, we're going
perfect.
right to it.
Let's do it. Bart.
Are you going to make it? Good Lord.
Billy, put a Lossinger in, dude. Let's go.
Oh, it's getting worse. Bart Durham Injury Law gives us bet of the day. Give him a call, 615-242-9000, or log on to bartdurham.com. Here we go.
Yeah, whatever.
What happened to the Blues?
They got the Blues. They came. That's about as close to winning a game and not winning it as you can get, which does me absolutely no good. So here goes. We got 2 plays tonight. The first one is an NIT quarterfinal matchup. Indiana State at home. They are treating this as the biggest thing since the Hick and French Lick in 1979. They sold out Sunday for their home game. I'm trying to think who it was they played. Indiana State played Minnesota. Tonight they get Cincinnati. Big name, but not the old Cincinnati Bearcats. Indiana State's better. They've got a lot of incentive. They want to get to the Final Four of the NIT, and I think they're going to rip into Cincinnati, and I think they're going to win by close to double digits.
Oh, wow. Okay,
yeah.
George.
Yeah. Then
we'll see.
There's this one. They tell you not to bet with your heart. Well, they're 15-0-2 in their last 17. Let's add one more to the list. Go Preds.
It's pretty legit. Go Preds. Yeah. I'm with you.
Might be a pretty spicy little crowd tonight.
I think it will.
George, I'm gonna have to start rooting for you, man, because those numbers 63 and 76 just not look
go
good.
ahead and put it back up there. That's embarrassing.
Embarrassing.
Yeah. I mean, it's just not good enough.
You're not making folks any money right now. Hopefully they're not listening to you on this part of the show.
Hopefully there's a streak coming. Tomorrow we'll look at what went on tonight at Bridgestone. We'll get some Preds talk going, and we'll get a little more NCAA Sweet 16.
Let's do it.
2 days away. Billy, get well.
I'll try.
Kelly, do you have any advice?
Coughing. Yeah, I mean, go home, rest a little bit. You rest enough already, but get a little bit more rest. I mean, do a little workout, get the endorphins going, and get your immune system up, Hoss. And then tomorrow, bring some more lozenges.
The endorphins.
The endorphins.
Yeah.
Who knew Kelly's medical judgment was so good?
When the Miami Endorphins went 17-0, it was a great accomplishment in pro football. See all of you tomorrow.
See you.
Behave until then.